Good morning, everybody. Welcome to StockTrader.net's Stock Talk with Ricky and Goose. I'm your host, Ricky Analog. Goose again is away today, so I'm solo again, but hopefully don't want to disappoint. Hopefully we have a great show for you guys. First things first, disclaimer. Everything we talk about today, guys, is just for entertainment purposes and information only. Do not rely on what we talk about to make your decisions. Do your own due diligence. Trading is inherently risky, and you must know those risks and be well advised. So please familiarize yourself with our disclaimer. If you are watching it on YouTube, that is in the description below. If you are watching this on YouTube, it means you're watching it not live. So please head over to stocktraders.net and register, and you can watch this live every morning at 9:05. Me and Goose be hitting you guys with the realness. So let's get right into it. First thing on the list today, guys, is ENPH. 97 million shares in the OS, and it's not much less for the float, 70.8 million shares. They have $53 million cash at the end of the month. They were cash flow positive for the last quarter, but they average about $2.3 million burnt a month for the whole last year, and as well, that's about their average for the last 3 years. So, they did register for the resale, what was done in a private placement, 9.5 million shares. They were bought for about $2.10 a share. That was done on 4/19 of this year, so really recent. However, I do want to let you guys know that last year they registered for the resale shares that were purchased in a private placement. 10.8 million shares, 5.4 million for Forest Ventures and 5.4 million for Rogers Trust. And those were registered for resale over a year ago, and they still have not been sold to this date. So just because they register shares for resale, you can't just bank on the fact they're going to sell them. Those ones, the 10.8 million shares registered last year, were sold in a private placement for about 92 cents a share. So you can see these guys have been in the money for a while, but not everybody is short-sighted on their timelines. A lot of people have longer visions, or maybe they're with the company for the long run. So again, you guys can't just assume because they registered 9.5 million shares for resale that those will hit the market. Now, if they do start hitting the market, you know, that's almost 20 million shares total between the ones registered last year and the ones registered recently. That does equal quite a bit of overhead supply. So we'll see if the tape is heavy today. But I am gonna say that based on the chart, this is not a bearish chart. This has been in an uptrend all year long. I mean, if you just look at the bigger picture, it's just nothing but higher highs and higher lows. Now we are gapping right up into the 52-week high overhead resistance. We'll have to see if that holds or not. But I'm not super bearish on this like I would. I'm not going to call this a turd just based on this yearly chart. And I mean, we'll be able to see the difference when we look at the next two plays that I'm going to talk about. But just keep in mind, these are not the easy shorts. This is not the layup short that we typically go over in the Stock Talk. It's not a Ricky tip. So that being said, guys, if we break out above 52-week highs, you never know, this may just be great to buy for a long on dips, guys. So let's jump into the next play. It's going to be CANF, can fight. It's a Israeli bioturd. I don't know if you guys know how I feel about Israeli biotechs, but they're pretty much all scams. I'm just going to go ahead and put my name on that one right there, right now. And this is the kind of chart where we do call it a Ricky tip. This is where when we get these big pops, they almost inevitably always go back to where they came from. And we see this chart time and time again. Now, the only thing about these is we all know that they're dangerous, because if you get caught on the front side, those up moves can be vicious, and those are the types of moves, guys, that can blow up a small account. And sadly enough, they're also the same charts, the same tickers, the same things that everybody wants to play, because they're on. Everybody sees people on Twitter showing their charts, showing their P&Ls, and oftentimes, you know, it's the fast money that draws people in. It's the same thing that churns them right out. But let's go over the basics, guys. They're getting the H.C. Wainwright hump today. and we'll talk about that in a second. But they have 8.3 million cash that they had at the end of March. They burn about $800,000 a month on average. Their last quarterly showed like a net loss of like, I think it was 1.2 million. It did not have a statement of cash flow, so I can't really tell exactly what they burnt for the quarter, but they are still cash flow negative. They have 20 million shares of ADS, which is the American Depository shares. The float's around 16 million. And I give you guys the ADS numbers because that's what we're trading. All right, you don't need to know the ordinary shares that are trading over in Israel on the Tel Aviv Stock Exchange. Let's see. On 3/12, March 12th, they did. Was it a private? No, it was an offering for 3.3 million ADS. They sold them for $1.50. And in a concurrent private placement, they sold 2.5 million ADS warrants at $2. And most, like half of those ADS in the offering were bought by none other than Sabby's Hal Mintz. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but he's a classic guy that we'll see in almost all the filings when it comes to bios, guys. And he always makes money. So if you know where he gets in, if you can get in cheaper, a lot of times you can find really great long plays knowing where that guy bought. But guess who did the offering? None other than H.C. Wainwright. So I hope you guys are starting to see a theme here. A lot of times these toxic financiers that do these offerings later on end up giving it a pump that helps whoever bought in the offering get out at profitable prices. They have, let's see, 1.25 million warrants that were registered for resale on 3/29. That was from a private placement. I think it was actually quite a bit. That private placement was a little bit longer ago. I think the exercise price on those is $225. And they do have like 9.5 million warrants total outstanding with an average exercise price of $430. Most of those we're not going to be worried about at this point. Just knowing H.C. Wainwright's involved in today's price target upgrade is enough for me to know something is happening behind the scenes. I just don't think we have enough meat on the bone yet. I would like to see this well above the 200-day, give us something to actually lean into. $2 and higher is where I'll be looking. If it doesn't get there, guys, most likely not going to be in play for me, but I did want to put it out there. The last thing I'm going to talk about is VTGN. Let's pull it up. Look at this, guys. Another turd chart, okay? So if we remember, here's ENPH, not a turd chart. And here's VTGN. Hopefully you guys can easily spot that difference, okay? If you don't know anything about fundamental analysis, just know how to look at a yearly chart and spot the difference between a turd and a chart that is uptrendy. So VTGN, I didn't have a whole lot of time to dig into this one. There's 22 million in the OS. I did notice there was an offering done in December last year, 10 million shares at $1.50, and there was also 10 million warrants at the same price. And I did note that there was close to 4.25 million shares worth of Series A, B, and C preferred shares that can be converted into common. I will go back and look into the prices those were bought at and what they convert into, just so I can have a little more confidence in this. But I don't need too much more to know that every time this thing has a big pop, it gives it back, and we can see these clear levels right around $1.80. We're gapping into that $1.70 area right now. But do note, guys, if we get over these levels, this is a really long built base, right? This is all 6 months or whatever from December till now. And you see these levels. If we get over there, don't be surprised if this thing gets legs and goes up to the next level. So say your plan is to short $1.80 using this daily resistance. Please don't hold on to those shares if it breaks over that and then wants to push through too. Just dump it, take your loss, and get ready to re-enter at better prices. We don't want you guys adding the losers to the point where you're so red in the P&L that you're blue in the face. If you guys have questions about risk management, that's one of the things I'm always preaching. I'm always trying to keep people safe, keep them off the front side. Please DM me or just ask it in the chat. Or, I mean, for God's sake, DM Titus, DM Goose, DM any of us, because we're all here to help you guys. You got to use your resources, all right? That's everything from me today, guys. If you don't have a plan, you don't have a trade, stay safe out there, protect your capital. Make sure we go out there and crush it. Peace.